What is up, guys? It's the Sound Alchemist, part of One Mind Syndicate, and today I'm here to talk about Warhammer 40K. In this one, we finally have the final installment for the 5th book on the Arks of Omen storyline, titled The Lion. And the return of the Primarch of the Dark Angels is here. So throughout the Arks of Omen storyline, we've been introduced to a new demigod. Of course, it's the Archifane Vashdor, and he has been teaming up with the likes of Abaddon and Angron, and together they've basically been hunting for these ancient relics that will form a key which will unlock an ancient super weapon for Abaddon, and it will also achieve apotheosis for the Archifane Vashdor. So they've been successful on a lot of fronts. However, there's one battle that Vashdor could not win, and that was against the Dark Angels upon the Rock. However, things are about to change because now it's time for round 2. But before we jump into the new lore, there is going to be a gap in the story because there's an entire novel's worth of lore that will be showcased in a different instance. So bear with me as to why and how and when the lion just kind of appears and there's no explanation for it. So with that being said, let's go ahead and begin with Book 5, The Lion. The lore begins with the Blood Angels ferrying none other than the lion in their ship. Lionel Johnson has awoken, and he has made his presence known. Again, the how, the why, the where, and the why will be explored further in his novel, Lion, Son of the Forest. But he's also being accompanied by Space Marines of the Fallen, which he has also been redeeming and renaming them the Risen. Of course, not all fallen are redeemed, and those that have fallen to chaos are and will be purged. It's also been confirmed that the lion has a psychic ability called Forest Walk that allows him to traverse the galaxy via warp portals with an emergence of strange plants wherever he goes. We then see that the Dark Angels, who are completely unaware of the return of their Primarch, are amassing a massive force, calling up successor chapters in order to bring down Vashdor for good. They manage to pinpoint his location, and once they finally get ready, a war begins. A massive void battle erupts as the Arks of Omens break through into real space from the Cicatrix Maledictum. One arc in particular is actually siphoning warp energy from the Cicatrix and is using it to bombard the enemies of chaos. Now, due to this, the Space Marines take heavy losses, but they do manage to bring down the Arks, and finally, this is when Vashdor springs his trap. All of the technology upon the rock begins to go haywire as a massive energy signature appears. Vashdor has not only been collecting fragments of the Silver Key, but he's also been collecting fragments of Caliban that split up back during the battle between the Lion and Luthor 10,000 years ago. Now he has amassed a stitched together new Caliban that has spawned via Vashdor's Dark Mechanicus devices, and this is now a demon world that he calls Wormwood. The reveal of the Dark Angels' homeworld as a demon world sends them into a blind rage, and the battle intensifies yet again. Vashdor then also reveals to Abaddon that 2/3 of the key fragments have been created, and that the last fragment is on the rock. Once retrieved, they could unlock the vault, but the location of the vault lies not in real space nor in the warp, but within the passages of the webway. Inside this vault, Abaddon can claim his super weapon, which has also been revealed that it was used during the War in Heaven. But whether if it's Old One design or Necron tier, that's yet to be revealed. Going back to the battle on the surface of Wormwood, the Dark Angels and the Unforgiving are fighting the forces of the World Eaters. Their second wind helps them in annihilating the Coordinate Marines, but an explosion of blood summons forth Angron into real space once again. The Red Angel quickly turns the tides of war, and now it's the Dark Angels who are on the defensive. But out from the smog-filled sky, a squad of golden-clad warriors erupt, raining down a hail of bolter fire upon the demon Primarch. Dante and his sanguinary guard have arrived, and thanks to the Blood Angels, Azrael, who had been trying to fend off Angron, finally gets that much-needed backup. The Void War above continues as yet another Chaos fleet enters this sector of space. But this fleet is also just a distraction, for Vastor then begins to communicate with something deep within the rock, the Tuchula engine. It is revealed that Caliban has actually been a very important planet to that of the Old Ones so long ago, and upon it resides an ancient sentient navigational device, and this device is the missing 1/3 of the Silver Key. This engine allows for safe, fast, and efficient means of warp travel without the need of the Astronomicon, and once combined with the key fragments, it is also able to create and destroy interdimensional pathways, which allow them to search for the lock within the webway. Vastor speaks to the machine spirit of the Tuchula engine, asking it if it wants to merge with the other fragments, and the engine agrees. The battle against the rampaging Angron is almost over, as most of the Sanguinary Guard have died a most painful death, either getting torn in half or crushed to mere bits. Dante has also taken heavy damage and is now at Angron's mercy, but just as the final death blow is about to be swung, ethereal vegetation seeps through the cracks of Wormwood, and out from the warp gate, the Lion arrives. The battle between Primarchs shakes the demon planet, as the world, too, begins to mutate. Angron and the Lion are evenly matched. Attacks that would kill any other combatant are parried aside, as Lionel Johnson's expertise swordsmanship is put to the test. However, the longer the duel goes on, the angrier Angron gets, and although he's swinging harder and faster, he's now making more and more mistakes, until finally the Lion capitalizes on this and skewers Angron through the heart with fealty, his sword. Johnson then brings down the Emperor's shield on the demon Primarch, decapitating him and sending him reeling back into the Immaterium. Even though Angron has been banished, the war is still taking its toll on the Space Marine forces. It seems as though the Dark Mechanicus and their demons are endlessly spawning through the depths of Wormwood, and the Lion sees no way for them to come out victorious, and so a retreat is ordered. The book ends with the Dark Angels and the Blood Angels losing the war, but avoiding any important characters dying. Meanwhile, it seems as though Chaos has won. Vastor has now all the fragments for his key, and their search for the lock begins. For GW has taken a page from Marvel's end credit scenes, and we get a little bit more lore, as Inquisitor Kotiaz learns of the consequences of the Arks of Omen, and an order is sent out to deploy all Inquisition assets before it's too late. And that brings us to the end of the final book of the Arks of Omen, Book 5, The Lion. This book is filled with a ton of epicness. We have epic battles, epic revelations, and galaxy-spanning consequences, where some of the other books of the Arks of Omen just really feel like nothing really happens. This one gives you so much more, and I love it. We get to find out why Caliban and the Dark Angels have been so mysterious, and that's because the world itself has been so integral to the Old Ones, and the technology on there is crazy. A sentient device that is capable of going through like the warp without the need of an Astronomicon. That's crazy, because like the Emperor was working on a webway project, and apparently the Dark Angels had a means to do just that. So why wasn't the Emperor informed? Maybe he did know, maybe he didn't want to mess with that kind of stuff. But we also learn that freaking Vastor, he did it. He accomplished his goals. Abaddon has a campaign under his belt where he accomplished his goals. He didn't lose. I guess you can say this is kind of like his 14th Black Crusade in a sense, and he did it. The dude has the key, and all he has to do is go into the webway and find the lock, which will then give him an ancient super weapon that, again, maybe the old ones used, maybe the Necrons used, who knows. But I can't wait to see where the storyline continues, and seeing as how we have a new Primarch in the galaxy, I wonder how, because we have a lot of good things coming for both Chaos and the Imperium. 2 Primarchs out in the galaxy. We have Vastor and Abaddon trying to find a super weapon. And then we have that little inkling of maybe we're going to get some new Inquisition models with Inquisitor Cotiaz having to amass all the Inquisition assets to go out into the galaxy to stop Abaddon and Vastor. That sounds amazing. However, if you see the trailer for 10th edition, it's like we're going into a different route. Where if you're following the main storyline, I guess it kind of branches out to now Guilliman and the Ultramarines fighting against the Tyranids. So we'll see where that goes, because I feel like the lore of 40K is just branching out, and there's too many avenues to explore, but that's good. That means there's a lot of content to come from that. So let me know your guys' thoughts for the final book of the Arks of Omen. Thanks again for listening. If you guys like what we do here at One Mind Syndicate, your support is greatly appreciated. You can help us out by liking, commenting, subscribing, sharing the video. If you want to help us out a little bit more, super thanks would really help. Or you can support us via Patreon. Links are going to be down in the description. But yeah, as always, it's been the Sound Alchemist, part of One Mind Syndicate, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.
Oh, I used to put my